Yeah, the hot sauce is so good. Sometimes I just open the fridge, take it out and drink it from the bottle. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make homemade lacto fermented hot sauce. It's so easy. Let's get right into it. G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Same Kitchen. My name is Sam Lin. I am a home cook who's really passionate about sustainability and more importantly, save money by making things at home. And hopefully I can be helping you guys do the same in your own kitchen as well. So you click on the video and you already know that we're going to be talking about hot sauce. But what's even cooler about today's hot sauce is going to be lacto fermented. So it's got that funkiness, it's got that slight tang, and then it will last forever. So this recipe is actually inspired by a video that's done by Joshua Weissman about 2 years ago. So he did a full recipe on a lacto fermentation on some chili and then turned that into hot sauce. So my take on this video is I want to be using ingredients that's less pricey compared to the chili that you can find out there. So that got me thinking. So my local grocery that I go to, they often will have a second section or ugly fruit section. So that's kind of the veggies that I use in my own personal diet, really just to keep the cost down. But beyond that, when capsicum is in season, they'll come in boxes in literally kilos of capsicum. So when I say kilos, that's 3 to 5 kilos of capsicum. That is a good 10 to 20 capsicums for about $2 to $3. That kind of deal is just too good to pass on, but even though they're so versatile, you will get sick of eating capsicum. So, which inspires me for today's video. Capsicum and chili, they're all kind of in the pepper category. So rather than using pepper to get rid of the seeds just to reduce the spiciness, I thought, why not use capsicum? It's got more meat, it will produce more hot sauce, and you are going to love this recipe. Alright, enough of my talking. Before we get into the recipe, if you can spend that 1 second and smash the like button down below, that will really help my video in a tremendous way. Thank you so much for doing that, and let's get right into it. To make lacto fermented hot sauce, we'll need a few very basic ingredients as always. To start with, I've got some really cheap capsicum from my local grocery store. These ugly fruit and veg are the best for recipes like this. Simply cut out the imperfection and they are as good as new. When being fermented and blended up, these bruises really have no roles to play. Next thing we'll need is some chili. The beauty of using both capsicum and chili here is that we can separate out the flavor and use fresh chili to control the spiciness. More on this later. Next thing on the list is some garlic. Garlic is used here to add in additional earthy and umami flavor to our hot sauce. If you're not a fan of garlic, who are you? Just kidding, it's totally optional. Most important ingredient of all, to create an optimal environment for lacto fermentation, we'll need some salt. Combining these basic ingredients, we'll be able to make some really tasty fermented hot sauce. We'll put these aside and get started. First of all, we'll need to set up our chopping board. When cutting up our capsicum, we want to get rid of the stem, the core, and the seeds of it and retain the flesh. Easiest way is to cut around the core and cut the capsicum while curving the knife around the core. Turn your capsicum 90 degrees and cut the flesh off in big chunks. You'll be able to pull the core out at the end. I don't really know any way to use capsicum seeds, so I have just been composting them. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions on how capsicum cores and seeds can be used. I'd love to hear from you. With the bruises or rotting areas, simply just cut them out and into our compost box. Do the same with the rest of the capsicum, and here's some 10x footage for you. Now, we're left with a bowl of capsicums. Next thing to do is to load them into a container that is big enough to hold all of them. When fermenting, it's best to use ceramic or glass containers and avoid plastic or metal ones, so the acid built up in the liquid won't react with the container. Load up your container of choice with capsicum. Next, we're going to fill our jar with water. To create an ideal environment for lacto fermentation, we'll need 2% salt to water ratio. What we're going to do is load up our jar, fill it with water, and measure out the exact amount that goes in. Make sure you have enough water to cover all of the capsicum. Now we've got all of the water we need, we'll empty the bowl out and measure out how much water is in the jar and add in 2% of weight in salt. It's super important to use a scale for recipes like this to achieve precisely 2% salt for lacto fermentation. Measuring with cups and spoons just not going to cut it. So here, I've got 1.7 kilograms of water. So we time 1700 by 0.02, that'll get us 34 grams of salt. Mix out salt in water to create our 2% solution. Give it a good stirring. Stir responsibly, and the knife is optional. Once our salt is all dissolved, pour the liquid back in the jar. Capsicum has a lower density to our liquid, so it has a tendency to float to the top, which is not very ideal. Grab a lid or small dish to place into the jar and make sure everything is all submerged. Any exposed capsicum can get moldy and ruining the whole jar, so try not to do that. So our jar is all prepped up. We're going to put the lid on and put it away to ferment. Just like any other fermentation we've done on the channel, there will be gas released in the process, so it's very important to make sure the lid is not fully sealed. I like to use a rubber band to pull close the lid, but gas is still able to escape when needed. Put a label on the jar and make sure it's dated. Or put it in a cupboard and avoid direct sunlight for 10 to 14 days to ferment. So the fermentation is 12 days in. We can see the liquid has turned cloudy, which is super normal, and the capsicum smells super funky. Once the lid is open, there's a layer of white stuff on top. This is the equivalent of SCOBY of kombucha, which is totally safe to consume. We'll remove the glass jar we put in to weigh down the capsicum and just drain the capsicum into a colander. The liquid is quite funky and can be added to food as a substitute of vinegar, so be sure to save some of it. We'll drain the capsicum, and next step is to transfer them into the blender. Your capsicum should be quite soft after being fermented. It shouldn't be slimy or smelly. If that is the case for your ferment, something has gone wrong and it's better to toss it. To give our hot sauce some additional flavour, we're going to add in some garlic. Crush our garlic to release the allicin enzyme. Peel these bad boys and cut them into tiny slices. Into a saucepan and onto the stove on medium to low heat. Adding enough oil to cover the garlic. Give it a good stirring and fry until golden brown. Keep a close eye on your garlics, as you really don't want burnt garlic flavour in this hot sauce. So now we have our capsicum ready in our blender. The ferment introduces acid and funky flavour to the sauce. To make it a real hot sauce, we're still missing the spicy kick here. This is when we add in some real spicy chili. Pick and choose what you prefer as a source of heat. I keep a bag of frozen bird's eye chili at home at all time. First, they're cheap, like $3 for about 500 grams, and they've got a really good kick to it as well. But jalapeno or habanero, whatever floats your boat. Chop up the amount of chili you want. And next, add in the toasted garlic we just made. Make sure to add in the oil for extra flavour as well. Now all of the ingredients are in and we're all good to go. Put the lid on and blend it away. Once it's roughly mixed through, give it a taste and see if additional seasoning is required. You can add in more of the briny liquid for more funk, more salt to boost the flavour, or even some extra chili. Cooking is definitely trial and error, so make sure to taste your food throughout the process, adjust your flavour as you go, and blend until it's smooth. Now our hot sauce is ready. You can bottle as it is for some thicker texture, or put it through some sieve for something more liquidy. I personally prefer the pulpy kind of texture, so I just bottle as it is. For you who've been following my channel, you would have seen me squeezing out some hotness from this sriracha bottle. It is a recycle bottle for our lacto fermented hot sauce. Rather than buying new squeezy bottles, recycle sauce bottles like barbecue or tomato sauce. Load it up, label it, and I thank you on behalf of our planet. So it is lunchtime the next day. I've got some basic ingredients to make a sandwich. Obviously the most important ingredients is our Lacto Fermented hot sauce here. Got some crumb chicken on my coffee sourdough. Sauce it up with our chili, egg on, cheese on, blowtorch the crap out of it because why not? Put the sandwich lid on and cut it in half. That is a beauty. The cost breakdown is as below. 1.5 kilo of ugly capsicum was about $2. 4 cloves of garlic at $5 a kilo equals to 10 cents. 34 grams of salt at 1 cent per kilo equals to 3.4 cents. Altogether, we yielded about 800 grams of hot sauce, which costed us $2.13.4 to make. You easily pay 3 to 10 times of that price on store-bought chili sauce. Alright, and there we have it. That's our Lacto Fermented chili sauce. It's so easy to make and it becomes much cheaper when we replace the chilies with just pepper, and we can control the spiciness with the amount of fresh chili that we add in. And it's one of my favorite things to make, and also have it stored in my fridge and just really just lift everything up to another level. You can add it into wings, you can add it into like sandwiches and burgers and whatever. It is my lunchtime. I'm going to dig in and let you know how it is. If you're a fan of hot sauce, you really need to try it. It's fermented, it's really funky, and the spiciness, you can adjust it just to the level that you like. Since I started making it, I've been adding it into pretty much everything, and if this is not life-changing, I don't know what it is. And what's even better about this chili sauce, it's fermented. It can last in the fridge for a very long time, and I believe the flavor kind of just gets better and better. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have been enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like and consider subscribing. I have a new video coming out on a weekly basis. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.